So hey everybody, it is Erin and welcome back. We are doing a set of ATCs today. So a friend of mine is doing a ATC swap. She's actually a guest designer this month, Bex Golden. And she asked us for a whole bunch of us, friends and so forth, and anybody who kind of saw her Facebook post, if you wanted to send in some ATCs to her, then she would swap them around and mail them back, and they're due in like 2 days. So I need to get them done. So what I've done is I've taken a whole series of the papers from the Midway collection pack, and I loved them because I did it on craft to begin with, and they're just a little different. They already have some texture to them. This one's a little bit blank, but it has the flags. And truthfully, I'm going to kind of orientate a couple of these to be sideways because they make sense sideways. There's three of them that way. So I've got this one, which is part of a balloon. Some of these I cut up and they kind of go like this, and so this is this is the ivory version of the same. So it came from here, so it actually goes like this, and this is another one, and then the flags came from the top of that, which is actually, it goes like that, but I can orientate it however I want. Doesn't make sense, flags are upside down. This one right here came from, so here's the balloon, and this is parts of the balloon that are there, and then this is the bottom of the balloon. And I have some pieces off to the side that are left over, but they're not the ATC size. A true ATC size is 2.5 by 3.5. It's the same as a playing card or a baseball card. And then this page right here is the same as what you're seeing here and here. And I did mess up, which is why there's only 2 instead of 3. So we're gonna make 8 ATCs. So if I send 8 out, I'm gonna get 8 back. That's kind of the point. So first step now that I've got my pieces cut, is I'm going to add a little bit of some fun texture to all of them. I'm just going to make them random. I'm not going to have any set design in mind. I've got 3 stencils actually, and I'm going to kind of mix and match and play. First stencil I have is Pugsley, and when I first got this, I made a comment and I said, why is this called Pugsley? And this is why. And it's of Pugsley, who is from the Addams family, which is Wednesday Addams' little brother, his little boy. And the shirt he always wears is stripes. So his homage, because he loves the show, Christopher, who's Bruce Monroe's company, he named his stripes after Pugsley, the character. So that's where that came from. We also have this one, which is called Paint Spots. And this one is called Folk Wave. So these are our 3 stencils we're going to play with. And I'm just going to mix and match them. If I end up covering up some of the graphics that are on there, I'm not worried about it. Basically, I'm kind of treating that they're already patterned papers like it's a stamp kind of thing. I'm just going to use a light modeling paste. And then I'm using some of the tools that are in the Bruce Monroe mixability section. So I'm just going to go on here. And I'm not even going to add the texture paste to the whole thing. It's just, again, a very random, haphazard kind of whatever. Again, if I cover it up, I cover it up, kind of like that. We're just going to see some, not all, and then move on to the next one. We are going to do some stamping later, which is why I have some other stuff out. But first step is to do this. So I'm going to keep on kind of layering up some of the stenciling things, adding some fun stuff to this, and speed through. Okay, so they're mostly dry. I'm going to now go back and use the exact same stencils, but do something a little differently with the stencils. This time we're going to play with, so I put it across the room, we're going to play with the powdered elements. And the best way to use the powdered elements is you can use the embossing powder. The downside to where the embossing powder is that you do have to wait for it to kind of dry before, or get a little more tacky before you put it on, and before you can brush, otherwise it's going to brush right off. So the best thing to use with it, I swear I cannot find anything on my desk today. I seriously have to clean up. You can't see it, but I got crap all scattered around the edges. It's a big giant mess. So is the sticky glue pad. This is a new thing that's coming out on the 21st, which is about the same time this video is going to go live. So make sure you check out the store because it will be in the store starting on the 21st of April. And basically what it does is you can take whatever stamp you want, and we're going to use some fun background stamps and also some stencils. So you can take a stencil. Let me show you one. So this time we're going to do the dots, and I'm pretty sure this is dry. You do have to make sure that whatever is underneath, yeah, and this is bone dry, so we're good to go. If you're going to do layers of mixed media, make sure they are dry. Take your stencil, take your sticky pad, and the whole point is you're trying to get the stickiness to go where the stencil is. And now I've got some sticky dots on here, exactly where, and this is basically glue, but in a glue pad. I then take my powdered elements, and let's go with bronze or copper. And you want to have some dedicated brushes. I have a brush specifically for putting it on, and then I have a brush specifically for getting the excess off. So I take a little bit of my powdered elements, and if you want to put some in the lid, and the lid's a great spot to use, and you basically are just brushing it on everywhere where it is sticky. See how we did that? So it's going on to all the sticky parts. You're sticking it to the glue, and it's going to stick to the glue more than it is to the paper because it's adhering to the glue. Now, because I'm also putting this over top of, it will pick up onto the light paste that I just used. So I am being very careful in applying it specifically where I have my dots, because I don't want to put it anywhere where it's not sticky, because it's going to stick to the other stuff. But on the paper, no problem. And again, I'm going for a very distressed kind of loosey-goosey, and then you just take your other brush and wipe off, and look how pretty. See how it's just where the dots are? It's getting a little muddled where I have some stencil, but that's cool. No problem there. I also pulled out a mist. So I'm going to be doing some with the stenciling, doing this, and then you do have to go through, because you've gotten glue on this now, and go back and rewash these. That's what I just did to these guys as well. Some of these I'm going to take a mist, and you know what? I think I'm going to do that second anyway. I'm going to go back and kind of add some mist as I go along. So this stage right now, and I'm not going to do the same stencil. So if I did this stencil, the dots, I'm not going to put dots over top. I'm going to alternate it. And maybe I just want to put little dots in a corner. Maybe I just want to add a couple. And if you change colors, like for instance, this time I'm going to do the gold, so it pops off, and everything's going to pop off that black. That's the beautiful thing. So here's the golded one. I'm going to take my brush and just kind of wipe it along my finger or on my hand. Sorry, right here, and make sure there's no more powder on it. So you're kind of cleaning your brush, but don't get the brush wet, because then all the powder is going to stick to it. Go in and add your powdered elements exactly where the sticky is. And I'm holding this at an angle so I can see where the sticky is, because it's getting kind of, it's hard to see. And I think it only picked up on 3 little dots. And there it is. Simple as that. Take your big brush, brush off the excess, and ta-da. And you've added just a little bit of texture of something else to your cards, or to whatever it is that you're doing. So this is my next layer of an element of doing something, is adding some of the powdered elements with the sticky glue pad and the stencils. All right, so right now I have a little bit of chalk shimmer, and this one happens to be an Oz, and I just wanted to pick another color, and truthfully, it's one of my favorite colors that he has. And so it's got a little ball bearing in here from our Mixabilities line, and you can add them to any mister that you currently have, and it just helps redistribute the chalk that's in the bottom. Here it kind of, you can go around in a circle with it, you can shake it back and forth. It's basically helping pick up all those little chalk bits that are really hard to get, because it's helping stirring them up a little bit better. At this point, I'm just going to do some light mists, just adding a little bit of something. And I did put a paper towel down because I'm lazy and I don't feel like, and I'm trying not to squeeze too hard. I don't keep switching gears too fast. Paper towels to help squeeze up some of the mist, because I'm kind of getting all of it all over the place. And I'm not squeezing too hard because I want some spray pattern, like more splotches. So I'm not pushing all the way down and getting a mass spray. I'm kind of just barely pushing down and getting more squirts than anything, and kind of directing squirts to be in certain spots. And if I get full blasts, it's fine. We're just adding another layer. If you didn't want to do it that way, you could easily pull it out and sprinkle flick, like I'm doing here, and then you get some more defined little splotchies, and that's kind of another fun way to do it. And then you can cap it back up and be done. You want to add more layers. I'm keeping this very monotone colored wise, and I just ended up getting, still got mist everywhere. That's okay. At this point though, is I am going to take this, and I'm going to take my very top mat, and I'm going to put this down on the ground and let this dry. We'll move on to the next level. What I have right here, and I just kind of layered them on, is I have die set that goes with the sand dune stamp. I have the sand dune stamp or dies. And so I have a whole bunch of really fun little pieces here. And of course they all shifted on me as I was moving around today. So I had them all laid out here so I could kind of see which ones I wanted to do, and I knew which ones go to where. And I definitely want these two big guys. I'm not sure if I want to do the boat or not, but I want the house. And I want a couple that say some sentiments. I don't want every ATC to have a sentiment. So what I'm first going to do is I'm just going to do these on ivory to kind of pop up a different color than what is already there, just to kind of make a stark contrast. I'm going to stamp out my whole set. And I like this because it can fit into my Cuttlebug, which is what I'm going to use. So I need to cut this down just a teeny weeny bit because the 6x6 doesn't quite fit in there. So I'm just going to take some scissors and kind of rough cut it. There we go. It's not quite a 6x6, just a little bit shy. So there we go. So I'm going to fit as many stamps on here as possible of the ones I selected, and I'm just going to go ahead and stamp these up with the detail ink. So basically what I'm doing now is I'm taking some washi tape. Yay, another use for washi tape. We all have a bajillion of it. And I'm putting the die that fits with that stamp directly, and I'm holding it on with the washi tape so it doesn't shift around on you. I mean, you've got this stuff, why not use it? It's not going to tear your paper when you pull it off. It's just to anchor the die, and then you just pull it off when it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and keep filling in all my spots, putting my washi tape down, and I'm making sure the die has the cut side down. And if the washi tape gets ruined, I'm not worried. But I have lots of little pieces. That's not the right one. It goes with that. Lots of little pieces that I need to make sure that don't shift around on me when I cut this. So this is just to make sure it stays in place. That's it. And I think I cut my little lighthouse a little too close to the edge, but we'll survive. So I went ahead and did a variety. I ended up adding the last 3 on there because I thought, you know what, at least if I have them done, I can play with them now. At this point, I'm just going to run it through my Cuttlebug and get them all cut up. And now they all just pop completely clear. So just pull your washi tape off, pull the die with the washi tape. It releases really easily with the die. You don't leave a sticky residue in the die. You don't leave a sticky residue of the paper. It doesn't pull the ink off. It's really kind of another amazing use for your washi tape. It makes die cutting with little pieces like this so easy. Okay, so these are for the most part dry. I wouldn't call them 100%, but they're pretty darn close. And now it's just a matter of placing in where I want to kind of have some of these fun pieces. You know, maybe I want this one to look like he's riding on the waves. And we're not quite done yet. All right, so a couple of other fun things that came inside this mixed elements paper pad is some of the textures that are in here. See this blue? There's also some cardboard. There's some burlap, and there's some more cardboard. So there's some fun pieces in here that I want to kind of play with and add with some of the texture. The blue is not quite matching, so I think I'm going to skip that, but I am going to add some of this burlappy paper here. So I'm going to take a snippet of that. I'm also going to take a little bit of this cardboard stuff. It's called flute paper. And I'm not going to do both textures on all of it. So for instance, for this one here, I'm going to take a little section of this and rough it up. Just make it look rough. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And then I can even use some of these little guys on some future project here on another one. So I'm pulling out the Oz, which is the same as the mist that I used. And I've also pulled out locomotive and cornflower. So therefore I can now go in and add some fun colors. So I'm just going to take this, and I think I'm going to layer it, maybe like this right here. Take my British Metal Craft glue and then just add a little bit. Add a little of my glue to the back of this. And then just make it haphazard. Take maybe my locomotive, add some more layers of ink across here. It will solidify, it's just, it's still trying to get wet. I also have, and that's kind of what I'm doing for all of these, I also have the Sterling Liquid Elements here, and it already has a little thing. And then just taking, this is a beautiful kind of a sterling color, and just adding some extra little dots of some color on here. For some of them, I may go ahead and spray them a little bit before I add the next level of color. And then just leaving it at that. And that's a done one. I'm not doing anything specific. They're random, they're haphazard, they're layered, they're mixed media. Just kind of having fun with that. So here's another one where I might take some of these little pieces now. And just kind of glue them down random. Maybe I'll take a little spritz of this. That's all I need. I don't really have an agenda in mind for any of these things. I'm just playing. And that's kind of the fun. You could do a black pen on here too. You could find a blue pen. I may end up doing that. So if I grab some extra materials as I'm going along, it's because I'm adding some things to this. So in the meantime, I'm just going to keep on playing and having fun. All right, so I ended up not using all my little pieces, and for some of them I actually took, and you probably saw me doing it, smashing my ink pad down on here and then taking the British Monroe water pen, but instead of putting water in here, I have put 70% rubbing alcohol, and I find it works amazing with these inks because they're a little bit of a different quality than some of the other inks out there, so they worked fantastic with that. And then the last thing I pulled that's a little bit different is this little pump action thing, and this I got from Iron Lac a while ago, and it's supposed to be kind of like a fine writing pen, but I activated it I think over a year ago and I let it sit, and you're supposed to take the nub, and I was practicing on here, and push it, and then you can write. But I think because it's real actual paint, that's what's in here, it got too over dried, and so now when you push, it doesn't want to mark through that, like the nub has gotten over dry because it's just too old. I didn't use it fast enough after activating it, but it leaves these really cool little circle marks now. These little half moon shapes, and I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. Or I can just kind of put a bunch of ink and then blend or have fun with it. And that's what I kind of did here, is I played with that fact that it had a weird circle. I was kind of messing around here, and I really liked the circle effect, so I went to town on that. I think I might actually, I love that effect. So I'm It's going to be the interlocking theme for all my, because I already have some circles going on here, and it just adds a cool element. Oop, there's a splotch. It's just something different. I mean, why not? They're all haphazard. And so even though a tool doesn't work or something that you originally had doesn't work the way that you intended it to do it, change it. Why not? Play with how it's not working and the oopsie that it's doing or something. The other thing that I also did is on the back side of this guy, I add a little bit of the cardboard, of the flute paper that came with the pack. And I'm realizing it doesn't have enough glue. And I used it to kind of help pop dot up my little house here, because it wasn't going to wrist finally, it was going to tilt. So now it's the same level. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors and trim off the edges, purely because these are all going to go into probably somebody's ATC book, and I didn't want them to stick out too much and cause a problem if they were going to put them in one of those like baseball card packs. So there's that. All of these supplies are going to be linked down below in the video, and so also on my blog post, so just take a look if you're curious about where to get any of these supplies. I will have the links down below for all of it. So thanks so much for stopping by and playing with my seafaring ATCs, my blue theme. I'm going to call it the seafaring because they came from the Sand Dunes stamps and die set, but I also had the Midway, and I just kind of played. I just played with mixed media, had some fun. So thanks so much. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.